Wholeness, beautiful beings, welcome to my channel. My name is Rashida Silvertree, and today's topic is discipline. Self-discipline is the highest form of self-love. When you show up for yourself, you're telling everyone and everything in your vicinity that you care about your existence. I'm gonna tell you this right now. This is something that it is part of the foundation of my practice. I currently work in a job where it can be very emotionally, actually, no, not emotionally draining. I would say physically draining, okay? Where my body literally will just shut down. Like I can't, I'm naturally a morning person. I like to get up before the sun does. And so not after. And I noticed the past month or so, my body is just like, I can't do this. Like my body is in resistance, and that's a red flag for me anyway. But one of my number one rules is that I'm it's so important to me is showing up for myself. And what does that look like? What is it that I hold dear to me? What certain practices are important that I follow for to begin to set a strong foundation for the day, right? I try to be as present with my practices as possible and not too future focused. So at the beginning of my day, I like to meditate and be in silence. Then I do my writing rituals, and then I do my meditations and my mantras, right? And that's just a very simple, to the point practice. I'll state some intentions for my patients or for my family, for my friends. I'm getting better at asking spirit for help. That's been something I've really been not so great at for the past 15 years of doing, meditation and in the certain types of spiritual work. I always forget, like it's just not something I think of, like, oh yeah, hey universe, hey spirit, hey source, can you help me out? I feel confused in this area, or I need guidance in this area. I get really confused with that. But one thing I must say is creating a space for that takes discipline. It's a promise. It is a creed. It's a contract that you make with yourself that you won't deny yourself, no matter how tired you are, no matter how fatigued you are, no matter how sad you are, or upset, or happy. I make sure that every single day, twice a day, I show up for myself. Even if the meditation is 2 minutes, even if it's 1 minute, even if I only chant the mantra 3 times, show up, because that strengthens your energy vortex, that strengthens your protection, your guidance, your connection, your channel to the all. Showing up for yourself is saying, I love me, I love my experience, and I'm no matter what, I'm not going to let myself down. And sometimes, am I perfect? No, I'm not. It takes a discipline, right? And I will say I've always been one that was very disciplined as a kid. Growing up Muslim, part of the sky god religion, the Islam, like you get up for Fajr prayer before the sun rises. You pray, you stop what you're doing to pray, make prayer for 5 times a day, right? And then we would fast, where you refrain from eating from sunup to sundown. And depending on when Ramadan fell on that lunar calendar, if it's during the summer, oh God, because longer daylight hours, right? So you're hungrier for a lot longer. But those early practices in my childhood really shaped me. And then when I started studying music at 10 years old, and then and performing on stage and being given responsibility to learn my parts and to learn them the right way and to perform, and I had other people depending on me, and I had to hold myself accountable. that really instilled something in my character naturally, where I just did it, like there wasn't room for laziness. And so I always really gravitated towards certain practices and certain lifestyles where there was some level of discipline. People will, when they don't understand what you do and why you do it and how you do it, they're going to either make you feel smaller than what you are to make themselves seem bigger and, more intelligent, or more like common, if you will. Like what you're doing is abnormal. What you're doing is the wrong way. What you're doing goes against what's natural and normal in society. How can you, shut your phone off for 7 days and shut your Wi-Fi off for 7 days and not speak to anybody, you weirdo? I've done that. It takes great discipline, right? But when you show up for you, you then can show up for others. Do you know how many people continue to show up for others? And they're thinking they're showing up for everybody, but they're mentally and emotionally and spiritually checked out. I see this all the time. I see it everywhere. Professionally, privately, personally, I see it everywhere. When you take the time to do something that you have an innate connection to, and I'm not saying everyone has to get up at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. in the morning to meditate for an hour. I'm not saying that at all. You have to fast or do any of the things I listed. Your thing, your sadhana, your holy spiritual or ritual of spirit can be you getting up at 5 a.m. in the morning before you go into work. You go to a pool and you connect with that water energy and you just swim for a half hour. You're just waiting and swimming, and that is your sadhana. That is your daily practice. That is how you connect to you, how you center to you, right? People look down on rituals. I know Sky God people. Sky God people tend to, like, if you say anything that's out of the ordinary, as far like if you say ritual, oh my God, demon, like it's just. That's part of the programming for most, I would say, ignorant and arrogant, and maybe uneducated people that are very quick to have a fear response to things that go against the Western way, or that dibble dabble into the unknown, things that they don't have enough experience with. But once you connect truly to your thing, like for example, you're a musician. Oh my gosh, the first thing you want to do in the morning before you go into work, before you put yourself of service for other people, you practice your guitar. Oh my God, thank you. I remember in my early 20s, I was dating a gentleman, and I became very close with the family. I would spend a lot of time, almost too much time, but a lot of time at their home. They have this big, beautiful Victorian style home. And my boyfriend and I at the time kind of cohabitating. But he had like a little man cave in the basement. His father, every morning before he went in to go to work, would play his guitar. Every single morning that I was there anyway, I would hear him just singing and playing his guitar. That was his ritual. That was his thing. That was his thing that set off the day for him. And he would play his guitar throughout the day or on days off or whatever, but I always really respected that. And this gentleman was like well into his 60s at the time. And so I just, that's what I mean, showing up for you, doing what you love to do. And guess what? Sometimes doing what you love to do, you're not loving it every day. Sometimes our mentality and our mental state can really be effed up. Like things don't go your way. You got in a really bad argument with your wife, or in your boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, your husband, or your kids aren't listening to you, or you got up late. And it's hard. It's hard to just, great, I gotta go sit and meditate, for 5 minutes and do this writing ritual, or, you know what I'm saying? But showing up for you is the highest form of love. It is not selfish. Okay? When you center the self, when you're self-centered, you place yourself in the space of filling your cup so that you can empty it to those who really need your service. There's nothing virtuous about self-sacrifice. There's nothing virtuous about it at all. You know how like some people will believe poverty is like this virtuous thing. Oh, look how great that person is. He just survived so little. He doesn't have a lot of money, and look at all that he's doing for the community. And then no one from the community is doing anything for him. But he's taken on that role of he keeps giving and giving and giving from a place of limitation where he can't take care of himself. I know a lot of people like that. I've met a lot of people like that, and I don't want to become a person like that. Because if you really tap and tune into your potential and you focus in on yourself where you're good, or at least the best space where you can be, and you try to obtain that, then you can optimize what you can give others. So that's the message for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I sincerely hope this message finds you well and whole. Take care.